Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast coming up next. We got Cam Jackson in the building. We gonna talk that talk coming up next.
Strength is like powerhouse, dangerous slam, surgical, can't repair once I break every limb. The general, which ring you prefer, I defend, cause the ruler always preys on the food in his hand. I'm telling you fam, my entourage is definitely stacked. Don Callis, I'm related to every wolf in my pack. Diesel like Shaq, I'm always outside for the script. Light it up, we take the ring, no fear in our eyes. Gold on my shoulder, fire in the sky. Hear the crowd get loud, we were born to rise. Bars in the zone, Doug keeps the pace. Otter with the plan, we control the space. This is greatness, nothing less. Turn the pressure to...
This is the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast, your home for real pro wrestling talk.
Soon, Bang Out Club will meet their fate. We have a secret weapon, someone from Lisa Bang Out's past, just in case she tries to get involved in our business. Meet our insurance policy.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, we the champs. Thanks for listening. We gone.
You want the best? You're looking at her. This ain't just a sport, it's a lifestyle. Welcome to the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast. We are the champions of wrestling talk.
This is the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast, your home for real pro wrestling talk.
Coming up on Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast, we are chopping it up with Cam Jackson.
And this again.
Yeah, we back. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for more content. Yeah. Don't get scared now. Don't get scared now, folks. You see who's in front of our screen right now. We got Cam Jackson. Let's give a round of applause. Yeah. Hey man, we appreciate you for tapping in with us this evening. We know you got a busy schedule and everything. Oh, here come Dub right now.
Man.
All right, bro. Let me get you on the screen real quick, Dub. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I had to move it first so then that way I could straighten it out to the circle. Boom, there we go. Okay. We good. All right. We good. We seem to be copacetic now. Yeah. All right, so we got Cam Jackson in the building. Let's talk that talk. So, how we usually go about this, my bro usually leads off in the discussion, and then I'll tag in as needed. So let's go. You up, bro?
First off, I'm surprised I ain't miss anything. I came in almost at the right time, right?
Yeah, you came in. We was just I was just breaking down what what we do real quick, and so then he don't get caught off guard or nothing like that. So that's why I Then you just
Heck
popped
yeah, I
up.
was thinking I was gonna get a ticket trying to hurry up and get home.
Nah. You good? You good? Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Mr. Cam Jackson. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to get you on, bro.
I know we finally made it happen.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you. So how I like to get started is I like to start from the beginning. So what got Cam Jackson into professional wrestling?
Oh man. You know the crazy thing is, like, lately I've been getting asked this question more than ever in my life. And I think it's just being around other people that liked it. Like my cousins and my brothers, they liked it, especially my older brother and my cousin Isaiah. They loved it. And then just by nature, that always being on when we hanging out, that kind of just soaked into me. And then I was always drawn to just the outlandish characters, the over the top things that I'd be wanting to say in public, that everybody wants to say in public but can't. And all these crazy things. So I think that's kind of what got me into it, just being a kid and being around it from such an early age, like five and up.
You're muted.
My bad. My daughter came in here and started talking, so I muted up. Is there a particular wrestler or anything that really caught your eye?
Oh yeah, hands down. It was the jabroni beating, pie eating. It was The Rock. So that man reminded me of my father and my uncles, just because we talk. We got the gift of gab, and it was just the punchlines and even the corny jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just that always. That's somebody that from where I'm from, at least culturally, in a sense, some sort of sense, But yeah, The Rock, hands down, right away. The Rock and maybe X-Pac, because for some reason I was just drawn to how he could move around and throw kicks and everything like that.
So, do you have like an athletic background?
I was always in decent shape. I mean, I did football in high school. We did all 4 years, and then we, playoffs a few times, but I didn't necessarily continue that after college or anything like that, or into college. I guess just being in shape in high school made me jump into backyard wrestling, and that's kind of what kept me in shape. Crazy enough. But yeah, as far as athletic background, I mean, we always moved around a lot as a family. Like my dad would take us out of parks and basketball courts and all this, and the whole family be out there. But as far as sports, I think just high school football really on my end.
Well, I asked that because, a lot of professional wrestlers, especially these days, they come into the business or the sport coming out of some kind of athletic background, whether it be football, basketball, amateur wrestling, and MMA, like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley and all them. So that's why I asked that. And then another reason why I asked that is because I want to know about the training. When you finally got into a training school, what was it like taking your first bump, and what was it like running the ropes for the first time?
So to be honest, I had been backyard wrestling for so long that I had other backyarders that had trained to be pro wrestlers teach me like that bare basic stuff, like the bumping and the hitting the ropes. I probably didn't have it 110% correct yet, but I had it to a point where I was going to be safe and can withstand the impact and everything like that. everything of that nature, bro. Like that first bump felt great, but then the first time I did it at an actual training school, it felt like I was back to square one. I was like, yo, it shook me to my core. And then there was the time I had to bump in a boxing ring, and everybody pride step up at the wrong time. And of course mine spoke up at the wrong time. And I bumped on that boxing ring, and I was like, I still got a ways to go. But yeah, that the first ever initial bump in the ring felt like that's something I could get used to. But then the first one in a training school where the pressure's on and you're trying to impress them so you don't get left behind, and that one was a little stressful in more ways than just physical. But yeah, that's probably the gist of it, is that my first bump made me want to do it more.
So which one would you say was tougher when you got to an actual training school, running the ropes or taking the bump?
I think they were equally as challenging, because you're breaking old habits. You're forcing your body to do something that it naturally doesn't want to do. So for me, luckily, like I said, I've been kind of smartened up to those kind of things. So in the training school, I got it like that almost. But I've seen guys not be able to grasp running the ropes, but could bump like no tomorrow. And then vice versa. I see guys that can fly off those ropes and have so much rhythm in their feet, but they still hit their head on a bump, or throwing their elbows point down. And, so like, I think for me personally, they were probably equally just as nerve wracking. But like, again, I was a little bit of a special case there. Like I said, I had a little bit of a crash course before that. So like, doing it, I felt obligated to kind of show that I could do it the first time. So they were both equally as nerve-wracking, breaking bad habits.
So you also brought up the fact that you were doing backyard wrestling before you actually went into, an actual training school. So what is the difference between doing backyard wrestling and actually going to a training school and actually learning, I guess, the proper way?
The big difference is just like honoring the tradition of the business. You know what I mean? Like, I could be a backyard wrestler still to this day and never have gone to a training school, worked the same exact shows, done everything the same besides go to that training school. And there would be people that be looking to cancel me and outlaw me because I didn't get into the business the traditional way. And I also feel like you kind of pay that respect. That's part of paying dues, is going to a training school, and figuring out the things that you don't necessarily like. Yeah, they're going to teach you how to wrestle, but they also teach you things that you wouldn't have necessarily gotten, like setting up, tearing down a ring, reading the psychology of a match, watching how things happen, even behind the scenes opportunities, even if it's holding the camera or helping produce a story or holding the light a certain way. Like, so a training school opened up way more doors and showed me way more, that there was more than just being in the ring as far as wrestling goes. Backyard wrestling, you just kind of assume all roles because there's nobody that can tell you what to do. And we had a little circuit though. I ain't gonna lie. There was some of us spaced out up and down the East Coast, and we would travel. So we were mentally preparing ourselves for this. But when we got involved in it, we really had to step back and go, oh, we don't know what we're doing. We gotta we gotta buckle up and get with the program. But yeah, I'd say the biggest difference was you get a little bit more just starting out freedom in backyard wrestling because you literally making it up as you go. And when you go through a training school, you learn that there's different levels to to just even putting an indie show together or to putting a match together, breaking it down even further than that. It teaches you just so much more intangible knowledge, about this stuff that you can't really get anywhere else unless you're around people that are meant to teach you this. You know what I mean? So yeah, that I know it's a long answer, but that's probably the big difference between the two.
Before I pass it on to my bro, explain, because a lot of people we know that backyard wrestling exists, but I've never been to a backyard wrestling show. So can you explain to us and the people what exactly goes on at a backyard wrestling show?
Oh man. I don't want to get nobody in trouble. But look, so obviously when you make the switch to pro wrestling, you kind of take an unwritten oath to not do that anymore. And that's kind of where I am. I've been pro wrestling for so long now. I couldn't tell you what the backyard wrestling scene is now. But at one point, it was like a whole community. And we would have these big crossover shows where everybody from all over the place would drive. I'm talking driving 10, 11, 12 hours to meet up together, put on this massive WrestleMania-esque type backyard show. And mainly just for the YouTube audience. My dog. Well, I tell you, I got a 4-legged youngin' in my house. He just is that what we're ripping already? Oh, okay. That's it. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Yeah, y'all get to know me real quick. I loosen up quick. Now, so like going to a backyard show, as to where you go to an indie show, there's everything is in a certain place, right? You got the merch tables and all this. Backyard wrestling shows are not like that. There are some backyard wrestling shows that charge admission in their audience, but you're usually walking through a fence. And when you walk through a fence, they're not really charging admission. They just tell you come on in and sit down. And then you're going to see people wrestle. Now, some of the wrestling is going to be impressive because you're going to be like, oh, wow, these guys never been on, never done anything. And there's going to be some of the wrestling that's going to make you want to, you're going to want to wish you never went that day. That's where we realize that this ain't for everybody, But backyard wrestling is more about the group of guys that are putting it on and trying to just build something together. That's really what that is. So you'll see a lot of things that you might not understand in the backyard wrestling show, but you'll understand what they were trying to, like wrestling. If you like the art of wrestling, you'll feel what they're trying to invoke out of you. You know what I mean? That's probably the best way to describe it. When you go to a backyard wrestling show, it might not be the best wrestling, but if you give it enough time to get into the story, you might be entertained.
Yeah, not for nothing. Like they do got backyard wrestling video games too. The one that I remember was actually on Xbox, I believe. Yep. It was on Xbox, and it had some wrestlers that are popular to this day that was in the backyard wrestling game. I think Zandig was in there.
Is that the one they put Rey Mysterio in? Was it that one?
I don't know, but I'm trying to remember because I had the game. I had it.
I know they Nick Mondo was in.
Nick Mondo was in there. Yes, Zandig. It was Nick Mondo. Who else? It was a few other guys in there, but I got the gist of what you're talking about with the bumps in backyard wrestling. because even the video game simulation of the backyard wrestling looked gruesome. Like the bumps they were taking, like there were some hard, like real stiff bumps. And I actually, been to a backyard wrestling event, and I've seen a lot of these guys go to work, and they do some off the wall stuff. Let me just put it like that, off the wall, and off the wall stuff. One guy that comes to mind that's a real popular backyard wrestler, and he's gone viral so many times. He just literally does wrestling matches anywhere on God's green earth. I forgot his name. He got colored braids.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
I love watching videos.
Yo,
that's a tough plug right there.
That dude is wild. I just seen one recently, right? He's in a bowling alley, and he bowled a strike, and then he walked up to this one girl, and she just stunned him out of nowhere. She just like boom, stunned him, and then and then she took him and slid him down, and then like bowling ring, the place is slippery. So if you don't got the proper shoes, you could fall. So she slid him down all the way to the pins, and he hit a strike with his head.
Yeah,
Yo, I was rolling. I was like, yo, this dude is wild. But you could tell he had some wrestling training though, because I remember seeing him in his beginning stages and how he is now. So and if I'm not mistaken, he did wrestle for a promotion at one point, because it was him and another dude. They were like tag team champions somewhere. I don't know. He's somebody I definitely would like to see if we can get on the show, because I would like to ask him a lot of questions. But yeah, I get the gist of what you're saying, for sure. I get the gist of what you're saying. So you have a hybrid style as far as your wrestling. You have an amateur background. You wrestled at the state of Oklahoma. Is that correct?
No, I am not that. That's a whole nother Cam Jackson.
You sure?
Yeah, I promise you. As flattering as that will be, and as much clout as I could pull from that, I would not lie to you.
Okay.
Okay. No, but I have seen that somewhere, and that I don't know if people are saying that I said all that, but I can promise you, I'm clearing up the record here.
Okay.
I definitely do. I mean, do I have an amateur background? Yes, but I can't count it necessarily.
Okay.
But college wrestling, definitely no. Definitely not.
Okay.
No, yeah. And I think if I'm not mistaken, that dude is just a college athlete altogether, like that individual.
Okay. Yeah, because when I was doing my research, it said a bunch of things, and you know what I mean, I only know you as Cam Jackson, so I don't know if there's another Cam Jackson out there altogether. I don't even know, but I only know you as Cam Jackson, and a bunch of things came up as far as NWA, XWW, and a few other things. So I naturally thought that this is definitely
definitely XWW. Definitely the stuff I've done there with them is
okay. All right. So I might be misinformed a little bit, but the rest of this could be good. So let me ask you this. So you do vlog your life from time to time. Is that correct?
I did. I haven't in a couple of years, but it's definitely making a comeback. But yeah, we definitely used to do that. I had like a solid like 5-6 episodes out there somewhere on either on XWW or on my somewhere. They somewhere up there.
Okay. So what about number one? The number one. Could you tell me about that? Is that connected to your moniker as well? Okay.
Yes. So this is a convoluted story, but it'll make sense. Just follow me. When I first started doing the indies down here, through crowd interaction and all that, the nickname Number One came about.
Okay.
And I kind of roll with it just as a nickname, a moniker, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought of how about if I did a story where Cam was taken out of the picture and I was actually number one. So I was being creative and whatnot. Did this whole story where I made a robot named Number Zero, and Number Zero was evil and locked me up, hid me away somewhere, and Number Zero created Number One, and Number One was the wrestler that everybody saw at these events.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, yeah, the Number One story was a whole entire thing to me, but I think in December, the end of December, I put out the final piece to that story, and then I just did a recap. Did a recap recently and put it on social media to kind of catch us up to now. But yeah, the whole Number One thing was all a part of the whole character arc, I should say, of what I'm going for.
Okay. So let's dive more into that. Okay. So character art. So tell the viewers and us how important character art is, because obviously, developing your character is important, especially when you're trying to engage the audience. So tell us how important that is.
It's almost everything, right? So like, if people don't feel like they saw you progress or grow up or advance, then they essentially feel like they'll get to a point of like, oh, it's just another Cam Jackson match, or it's just another Cam Jackson promo.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of challenge yourself to take what you're doing and make that the best. But then as you get further along in your career, be able to do that same thing, but mature it a little bit, or do it so much better that, this is the new thing to top. Like, that's why I went with that long convoluted storyline, because I knew for a fact that if I wanted to make the switch from just a self-centered entertainer, which is what I would describe the gimmick as, to somebody that's just in his own head, it just you know what I mean? That would be the way to tell that story. That's the you know what I mean? That's kind of the way we get there. And the reason why I made that story is because I don't see other people telling that story. They just one day they start out as Ricky the Pirate, and then next thing you know, they next time you see him, they 245 pounds jacked, and you know what I mean? Like, oh, what happened?
Yeah. I think you're absolutely correct. I think in today's wrestling, I think some of that gets lost in the shuffle. Like, where these guys come from, what's their backstory and stuff like that. But when you do hear the backstory of some of these athletes, you get more intrigued and drawn in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they become more relatable. Like, why do people like Eddie Kingston so much? Because he's relatable. You know what I'm saying? He don't necessarily look like, the what we grew up seeing. Like, he don't look like, he's not no jacked, like, 200 and 60-something pound, you know what I'm saying, dude but he's a big dude. He's obviously a strong dude, but you know what I'm saying, he's not, you know, he don't have one of them like them type of physiques. And what makes him relatable is that he looks like somebody that you could just, you know, talk to on the street. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could hang out with, you know what I mean? And I think that's why he's so likable and he got such a strong fan base, because like he does look like, you know what I mean, just a regular dude. Like, yo, what's up, Kingston? Yo, what's popping with you? You know what I mean? Like he looks exactly like that. So I think you know, having characters like that that are almost like somebody you could just chop it up with is pretty good too. But also knowing their backstory is even more important. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows Eddie Kingston's backstory. So you know what I'm saying? Where he's come from, how he grinded to get to this point. So, you know, I definitely agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. So let me ask you this. What do you prefer in a character? Do you prefer the face or the heel? Which one do you like to dabble with the most?
Yo, you know what's crazy? And this is probably going to be the most selfish thing I kind of ever say. I've gotten so into to kind of what I am as a performer that I honestly play the same for both. And you know, like, and obviously there might be small little things that I change up to get a desired reaction, but getting the reactions never, I mean, not say never, but getting the reaction isn't that big of a challenge for me. For some reason, people just vibe with that energy. And I've been very good at social energy. Like I've always been very good at saying something within a group of people to get them on some sort of common ground. So like for me, I love playing babyface and I love playing heel. When I'm playing face, I can come out and I literally, you know, before Jey Uso, yes, I'm going on record and saying that before Jey Uso, since the year maybe 2020, maybe even a little bit before that, I had this gimmick where I would do my entrance over and over and over and over again. Because, you know, 2020, the world was shutting down, right?
Right.
So less and less people at the shows, which means when you go on later, they're not really paying attention. So you got to do something to get their attention. I'm like, all right, well, they don't want to pay attention. I keep how much time we got? We got 7 minutes. All right, I'm about to use 5 of them. Let's go. And keep going. And they finally get up. And as a heel, you know, now we gotta do things on the fly, right? So now we can't have a whole match. Now I gotta throw a clothesline and you duck it and roll me up 1, 2, 3. And now we just stole the show, and all I did was go back and forth up the aisle, you know. And I was getting like that. And then as a babyface, it works the same way, right? If a heel is in the ring trying to get the business, and I keep doing my entrance, the crowd's gonna be like, "Yo, keep doing it. It's taking them off." Sorry, I'm watching my language. It's taking them off.
Go ahead.
But yeah, like, so like I love playing both. I don't really find. I find it a blessing that I've got it figured out to that point where I can play both.
Let me ask you this. So, in your eyes, who are the heels and faces to watch in professional wrestling? Whether it's on the mainstream level or the indie level, who are the faces and heels to watch in professional wrestling right now?
Right now, I think so. To dive into that a little deeper, I think now we're also as fans smartened up to what these roles are, right?
Mhm.
To where when we say these things, we carry it with a certain respect of that person is playing a character or that person is playing a role. So like I always lean into people that almost forget that they're playing a character, like MJF. He knows he fully knows he's playing a character, but you know he can get underneath somebody's skin and will if you give him the chance he will. You know, on the babyface side, I think we just say goodbye to two great ones. AJ Styles, John Cena. My dog is having a field day over there. He's about to get the shirt to the back of his head, man. Chill out. See him looking back. I don't mind if you choose that, but like, heels. I like people like I love JBL. Not afraid to step over that line. As long as you're doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it for the sake of the show. Like, yeah, like there's a big portion of the audience like me that's gonna laugh when people take it too far. I laugh. I don't know why. I've never taken offense to like a heel's wrestling work unless it was meant to be taken offensive, unless they dove outside of character to do that.
Right.
But that's right up JBL's alley. Like, when he was chasing them back over the border, he got the Texas hat on, big Wall Street man and huge Republican at that, trying to get, bro.
Yeah.
That was just funny to me because it was making fun of life. It was making fun of the stuff that we do. And I'm not saying that their situation is funny, but what I am saying is, like, sometimes you just got to sit back and look at the big picture and laugh at some of this stuff. Like, and at that time, that was a much needed serious story that now we can look back and all laugh because it was like, bro, JBL really did that. Like, but Babyface is a guy that was good at both. The Rock, later years, Ric Flair. But like, right now, I'd say that top heel is MJF, and then the top guy that's got mastered just playing that character and getting people wound up and whatever he wants, Roman Reigns. Like, he literally changed nothing and became a babyface one day. You know what I mean? Like, and that's people call it aura now. Like that's that effect. That's what we all dream to have one day. Like just that type of pull.
Yeah, I agree with you. Speaking of Roman Reigns,
there's a lot of people out there that don't like Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
They mad because what they're doing is they're still mixing up his big dog era into this tribal chief era and not wanting to realize that there's a difference between the big dog era where he was getting dog food dumped on his head and the tribal chief era where he's just been absolutely dominant. And it's like you said, well, name another person that can just go from heel to babyface and not change a thing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And speaking of Roman Reigns, the promos that have been cut recently between him and CM Punk have been pretty ruthless. Punk. When you say stretching the lines of a promo, Punk definitely did that on Monday when he spoke about unaliving of Roman's father. Like and let me let me ask you that, right? So when people stretch the lines like that in a promo, right? It's not right. It's not right, especially to that extent. How do you process that? Like, or say for example, right? if you're asked to do exactly what Punk did, how will you process on getting into the character to be able to do that without seeming like you're being so disrespectful? Because a lot of people got offended by that. What's the name? Zillify 2. I don't know if he's playing his character or really serious, but he literally said that he was gonna go after CM Punk for that.
Yeah, that so if it's a known bit that I have to say, if this isn't something that we're just dropping on out of nowhere, then I go to the person I'm saying it about. And at that point, everybody else can, everybody else feel how they feel. Everybody else is strapping in for the ride. As long as it's okay with the person, if I'd like to imagine there was some sort of creative meeting. Oh, I got all types of things going on here. I'd imagine there was some sort of powwow about that line.
Right.
No way Roman Reigns, being who he is, doesn't know that line is coming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, as long as he's cool with it, then go all the way. You know what I mean? 'Cause if you're going to do it, you might as well do it. That's the other thing. It's it sucks that you have to do it sometimes, but then if you're going to do it, step on the gas. Go all the way. Because when you tiptoe into it, then it becomes too touchy. Make it a very emphatic statement. Make it hurt. If we're gonna put the production value in this, make it hurt. I have to take this away from you. Yeah. All right. You can chill on that.
Yes, I definitely see where you're coming from on that, because if they don't know that that's actually going to be said, it could cause a lot of tell me, it reminds me of this, because a few years ago, Ric Flair and his daughter were in a segment. You know what segment I'm talking about, right? Okay, so a few years ago, Ric Flair and his daughter were in a segment, him and Charlotte, and something was said about, I believe, the son, right?
Yeah.
Flair claimed that he didn't know about it. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't too pleased about that neither. So when you say that not knowing, I definitely understand. And I mean, obviously, we don't know exactly what happened after that, if somebody was in trouble or whatever, but I don't think he would just make that up and just say he didn't know nothing about the actual, segment that was about to occur. And apparently, and I could be wrong, apparently the daughter didn't know too much neither. So
that's
so it was kind of like a shoot type of thing, because we've seen shoots before with Charlotte. I mean, she had a shoot, what was it, year and a half, 2 years ago against Nia, and her and Nia exchanged a few punches. You know what I mean? So that was crazy too. So, definitely those type of things could lead into big issues occurring. The thing is, you kind of just need to know where to draw the line at when you're doing a promo like that. You just gotta know where to draw the line. Even if the person does agree, you still gotta learn how to know where to draw the line at. Because if you're cutting the promo and they allow you to do it, and it just even seems like a hint of being disrespectful, like you're a hint of enjoying it, it might come off kind of distasteful. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's the hard part. And that's why I say go all the way if you're gonna do it. Because if you're going, when you are nervous about it and you don't have somebody's blessing, is when it's gonna be a problem. You know what I mean? But chances are, if you have somebody's blessing and they're in on it, then you feel like you know it's not right, But now you can look at all right, well, let's get the best reaction possible.
Right.
And I always say, like, stuff like that, stuff that's real heavy, that's in our fraternity as pro wrestlers. That's between us. We supposed to be able to talk about that before we do that.
Right.
Even if it's supposed you want a real reaction out of somebody, like give them a heads up. Like give them a heads up, or be like, hey, what's off limits? You know what I mean? Like, because again, that situation, like, the WWE is a different place. You got job security to worry about. But I can tell you, if somebody says something like that on one of these indie shows, look, man, it'd be a long way to the door. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Nah, I hear you. I do see the difference between the mainstream and the indies. Like, we've seen plenty of examples where things got out of pocket on the indies, and whoever it was got handled quick. So I know, I understand that totally. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. The crazy thing is like the indies is way more cutthroat than people make it credit for. Like, it is incredibly hard. And I'm not just talking in my case, because I'm happy with my decisions and where I am, and the fact that I can still get up and move around, and I'm not complaining when we get out of bed. But you see so many of these guys, like, I can tell you 17 wrestlers that haven't even had their first match yet. That's about to come more onto this scene here in the Carolinas, where we're at right now. Like, it is incredibly difficult to stand out until you stand out. Like, when you finally do stand out, then you get a whole new set of difficulties. It's like that. This is forever refreshing the different challenges to throw in your way, because you can almost be out. You could almost feel like you're a step away from some sort of deal or anything like that. And then you met with a whole new set of challenges. Then it's like, like, they want you to first, they want you to first get out there and have your first match, right? Then they want you to clean up your ring work. Then they want you to get better gear. Then they want you to travel more, right? Then they want you to travel more out of state. Then they want you to hit loops between different states within a weekend period. Then they want you to learn how to travel out of the country. And then hopefully you get a tryout in Orlando one day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's difficult. Now, I'm not knocking anybody that takes that path, because it's a hell of a path to take. But it is incredibly difficult. And I think that's why, like, going back to that, like, things like that, people get handled on the indies so fast, because we're already uptight. We're already waiting to let out our unvoiced frustration on people. Right. So, and that's why I'm like, stuff like that wouldn't fly on indies. You'd have to smarten somebody up, or it'd have to be so good that everybody respects it. There's no room for in between that.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead, bro.
So, how we got in touch with you was through Yo Boy. So tell us what it was like teaming up with old Jordan Holt. Jordan Holt himself.
Look, I listen, first of all, I love Jordan Holt, bro. Jordan Holt is that's a good brother right there. That's a good dude. That's a real good man right there.
That's our guy. Cool dude.
So before Jordan was having matches and everything, like, he was training underneath High Spots and George South and all. 2020 stuff shut down, so they came out to where I was training at, and that's where I met Jordan. And then we fast forward to XWW, and you know that whole story is a whole thing of its own. And we finally get to a point where, you know, they wasn't really gonna do nothing with me, and Jordan was in the phase of like he's still figuring out, you know, his character wise and how to pretty much pull our culture out of them and put it on screen without making fun of our culture in a bad way, you know. And then it just worked. Like it was like we just came up with these segments and tried to make each other laugh. And like to this day, we can't be around each other when something serious is happening because one of us is gonna laugh. It's gonna be something, or one of us is gonna say something and the other person gonna laugh, or we gonna get to arguing and everybody around us gonna laugh. We just gonna ruin it. But it worked because he's such he's one of the best in-ring performers I've ever seen in my life. Like he gets in there, he can go. And I'm more on the entertaining side of things, so like it just worked as a tag team. And we pretty much became the top little tag team in Charlotte here for a little bit. And of course he, you know, doing his thing now with Zay Vega, and then that, you know, that's fire in its own regard. But like we did something that I don't think any of us saw coming. Like we didn't expect it to be this big thing, and it made us tight. You know, it made us cool, real tight as friends. And he, like I said, that teaming with Jordan was a blast, bro. There was never a dull moment. Our promos, bro. Oh man, we could have got signed off of them promos alone. I'll tell you that right now. There was one where I was all sweaty, right? And then Jordan was like, Cam, why are you sweating? I looked at him. I looked him dead in the eye just to get his reaction. I said, I was watching porn, Jordan. And then
Hey, he don't like this either.
Yeah, Jordan.
Is it Jordan or Zay that don't like this one?
Nah, Jordan don't like the Shao Kahn laugh. Jordan don't like it.
But yeah, man, I gotta find. Look, I'm gonna make it when I get the time. I'm gonna make a whole Cam and Jordan compilation, just the outlandish things we done said on video. Man, I can't believe most of this stuff. I don't even think. I mean, I put censors over it because I didn't want to get in too much trouble. But we don't win. We was just that was a great time in my life. You know, like Jordan was a breath of fresh air because like at the time, again, I was just getting back into shape. I was coming off of another injury, and you know, we both just kind of started with XWW, and I don't think they saw much in doing with us at that time. So putting us together kept us around. Now I'm the XWW champ. So like you see how far that all goes. So it and I got Jordan to thank for that. So yeah, Jordan Hope. That one right there for Jordan Hope. Well, I'm sipping my screwdriver.
Hey, you do your thing, bro. Listen, man. We've had Jordan Holt on the show a couple times, and he's funny, but in a nonchalant way. Like he'll just say something, and it's almost like he's waiting for us to start laughing because waiting on seeing one of us is gonna catch what he said. Yeah. And then when you get him with Zay Vega and Rayhan, and bruh, it was like non-stop laughing, non-stop. So
Yeah,
with that being said, what are the chances that we could get Cam Jackson in Ashe Wrestling and join up with the Ugly Gang?
Oh, snap. Well, that would have look. Ashe would have to do an after dark show because I cuss. Yeah. I mean, I don't cross the line too far, but I damn sure dance on it. You know, I would be down, bro. I love Ashe. I love what it stands for. I'm just not trying to offend our people. So, you know, there's a fine line between having fun and being offensive. And to me, having fun might be offensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that I don't want to work there. It's that I'm not in a rush because I want my style to be accepted first before I get on there. I don't want to make us look bad. And that's as honest of an answer as I can give. But if they do an uncut or after dark or something where the rules is all for one night, oh boy, I'll be the first one there.
Y'all remember BET Uncut?
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember.
He trying to get Ashe to do an Ashe Uncut.
And look, I don't drink before I get in the ring, so they'll get a sober match. But after I get out of that ring, I want that microphone. I want the microphone, and I want one of these. I'll be all right.
Have you had any conversations with Jordan just by trying to? I know because I know Ugly Gang is outside of Ashe also. So have you had any conversation with them about you joining forces with the Ugly Gang, him, Rayhan, and Zay Vega?
We've done little things like in Action Pack Wrestling in Chester, South Carolina. One night I had to team up with, or it was I was in like an angle around the Ugly Gang, not with the Ugly Gang. And a lot of times I'll just team up with Jordan and Zay. But as far as me being in the Ugly Gang, I think there are two separate entities. Because again, I'm not trying to make nobody look bad. But I am never against joining forces. I'm never against joining forces. Joining forces and bringing something fun and entertaining and hopefully action packed. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm never against it. I'll jump at the opportunity if it presents itself.
Hey, bro, Bars. Make sure you clip this and send it to Rayhan and Zay and Jordan Holt. Let them know that Cam wouldn't mind joining up with the gang.
Word, we team up and take a couple mugs out, put some ass on the grill.
Hey, listen.
Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. You think I get it. You're outlandish. You out there. You don't want to make the culture look bad, but I think you would fit in just. I think you would fit in just fine with them guys. I mean, you go on TV and call yourself the Cream Pie Poppy. I mean, I think you would fit right in with them, bro. Honestly, I really do.
You're right. And when Ray started doing that, I was like, "Oh, this motherfucker here." I was like, "Oh man." I was like, "It's gonna be such a blowback for this right here," and then everybody loved it. So that's a tribute to his genius.
Yeah, he has a few things going on right now, character wise, with some alter egos that I've been paying attention to, and it's been pretty interesting. It's been funny too, like
Yeah.
So he has a very, very, very artistic mind when it comes to his character. And I definitely think that it deserves more credibility, which it is getting credibility because he has the one championship belt right now. He's like the heavyweight champion of wrestling. Yeah, Wrestling Revolution. So So like, yeah, so he's definitely getting that credit.
Yeah, I'm happy for him too. It's crazy because where we are, Wrestling Evolution and ACCW, they're like, I probably should say this, but you know what? We're on podcast. I'll blame it on this right here. They the promoters don't necessarily get along. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean they out to kill each other. They just don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
So by nature, they're the rival companies in a sense. But I will say it is a very civil, very, very civil rivalry. It's not like they trying to kill each other off. It's more of they just running against each other on the same day. And Ray's the champ over there, and I'm the champ in Apple City. So like, I love it and I hate it because I love to see, somebody like Rayhan getting that opportunity. But I hate it because now I'm on the other side. It's like it'd be like WWE and WCW. You can't have Goldberg and Steve Austin out, out hanging out, like it's and so it's one of those like we gotta link up at events and stuff. So because people are afraid to book us against each other in that little spectrum there. But man, I'm very, very happy for Ray, man. Ray is top notch. And I think Jordan and Jay hold the tag titles there.
They do. They definitely do.
Awesome. Love to see that.
Yeah, so what is it? What is it about the wrestling scene in North Carolina? Because I feel like everybody that we've talked to, even some of the bigger names, they've either all got their start in North Carolina or they're in North Carolina right now doing some wrestling. What is it about the wrestling scene in North Carolina?
I mean, I could argue that there's some of the the best talent undiscovered around here. I mean, you can argue that anywhere, but here it's a little different because there are so many different schools. Trying to use the right names, Jackson Drake and Javon Evans. Take them right now. They both came out of Firestar, which is in Greensboro. LeBron Cozone, who I just wrestled 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Yeah, phenomenal match. He's top notch, bro. He just got signed to MLW. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before.
Wow.
But for those two, he put Griff Garrison in AEW. He's got his hands on so many talents that are about to even come. People haven't even seen wrestle yet. So there's so much talent just coming out of that school alone. Then you take in the once in a lifetimes around the other two, the other areas in the region. I mean, it's a pretty big state too. It's just so much talent here, and there's wrestling. There's as to where there used to be 1 or 2 territories here, it's split into so many different zones of territories, and there's a big show every 3 hours apart from each other if you drive down here. And I don't mean big show just decent rap. I mean big show So it's the wrestling here is just there's so much of it. There's so much good talent. Now with good talent, there's also you get some of them ones, and I've had my fair share in the ring with a couple of them. God bless their heart. That's all I can say. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But, some people be better referees, I tell you. And there's some that I wouldn't even book to come get dog shit out my grass, man. I'm telling you. But You know, saying. I'm just saying. Now look.
Yikes!
Yeah.
No, no, this is a normal this is a normal thing for me. If you ask around, I speak freely. But again, I'm not knocking anybody in particular. It's like that everywhere. I'm just not afraid to say it. That it's like that here too. You know.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that I could absolutely be wrong about. There's some people that I thought wouldn't be, they were hot garbage. And then, you know, I look around and I'm like, yo, they everywhere, you know, and I eat those words too. I clap for them, you know. I'm not against being shut up either. But man, when you have a region this rich in wrestling history, you're always going to have a lot of wrestling there. Some of it great, some of it not so great, but that's really the gist of it. That's kind of what it is about the area. It's just so much wrestling history here, and there's a lot of wrestling schools, so therefore a lot of wrestlers, you know.
And with all that said, would you say North Carolina right now is the mecca of professional wrestling?
Oh, it's hard because you got all that stuff going on in Florida too. And then Atlanta's been hot since, before all of this. I'd say on as far as what the hell he got? So as far as like on a regional basis, like your local regional promotions, I would give that to North Carolina because there's a lot of them here, and there's a lot of reputable ones here. You know, like there's big names come into small indie promotions all the time, but like for some reason here they get out a lot more. Like the picture of them in the small place goes out a lot more. Gets spread further. So I would say as far as like regionals, yeah, definitely. And it's only going to grow because again, you know, Firestar Pro Wrestling, just everybody that's come out of there and the people that are going to come out of there, like, bro, that's a dynasty being created, and a lot of us don't realize that we're witnessing the dynasty in its very, very early phases, and it's been around for a while already, but it's like it's about to take off. Like if any of those guys have an ounce of the same training that Jackson and Javon and Griff Garrison have, which I know for a fact they do, they have the same exact training. It's going to be quite a few stars to come out of it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to LeBron Cozone because he's throwing them in there. And I think not before he got signed to MLW, he had a WWE tryout also. So not only is he, you know, bringing the guys out, guys and girls at that, you know, out from his school, but he's still going after it himself and then finding time to train. Like, shout out to him.
Yeah, and that's just a credit to that man's work ethic, bro. That man just go, bro. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we've had a few of his wrestlers on, like Alex Evans and Damian Dynamite Jackson and a couple of others. And
Boy, I love going to Firestar because I get to say stuff in the locker room to make everybody uncomfortable. I love it.
Hey, bro, this is a podcast. Let's hear some of the crazy stuff that you get to say in these locker rooms.
I All right. So it depends. It depends on like who's in the ring, right? So if somebody in the ring is messing up, right, and like messing up bad, like visibly messing up, I will take it. I make it a point to be in the locker room, find an opening where I can shout from the locker room all the way to the ring. There's many different phrases, but I'm gonna use the cleanest one. Say it calmly. Your mama need to come get your ass because you suck and you just shit the bed. Like, I'll scream it, right? And everybody in the locker room do this. Everybody doing this, right? They're all covering up. Turn away. Close that door. I'll shout just random shit in public, especially at the fans. Oh, it's my favorite, especially. I'm working the show for Firestar. This is on YouTube too. It was one of the boxcar shows, and I had to wrestle Kid Neon, who's phenomenal. He's great. And I'm doing my usual entrance thing to do it again. And I think one of the fans said something, and I was just like, oh, this is an adult show too. It was 21 and up. So at that point, I'm like, the cuffs is off. I picked up that mic, and I said some pretty vile things. Some pretty line crossing things. They were telling me I suck, and I told somebody to shut up, ding-a-ling face, or something like that. Just a bunch of just offhand one-liners, anything I could think of in the moment. But I love doing that because that's the character. It's like the idea of it's being anything to get a reaction, but we're gonna have fun while doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to also make it fun for everybody around when I do things like that, because you're not supposed to be able to get away with it. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to, but I do because we do it, or I do it in a way, I try to do it in a way where nobody's going to get offended. And if somebody does get offended, it's so easy to laugh at because they just giving in to whatever I just spouted out, you know? But yeah, tons of things. We have our my favorite thing to do in the locker rooms is the George South impersonation, because George is a great wrestler. I had one of my favorite matches ever against George South, NWA legend, but he has like a rhythm when he talks, you know what I mean? And I find it so amusing. He's like, hey, what you doing? Okay, what you doing, buddy? Okay, come here. Hey, go back top row. What are you doing? No, you know, like he just he'll range up on you. And I love doing that in the locker room. Just having a good time, man, because a lot of people forget that's how all this was built. Like, this pro wrestling was, you know, it was a carnival thing. And then once the stage was torn down, you didn't know who was a pro wrestler no more. You know what I mean? And now, you know, because of social media and just the way of the world, everybody's out there. So I try to do things that are still privately kept in some sort of form between us, whether we laugh at it or whatnot, you know, because that's kind of the little bit of like closed door we have left. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fun in pro wrestling that people forget that you know, it's supposed to be there. It's supposed to always be there.
So speaking of all that, is kayfabe dead or alive?
Kayfabe is what you make of it nowadays, right? If here's a better way to describe that. If we took realistic events and built kayfabe around them, then kayfabe is very much alive. But if we just looked at kayfabe and took our real association or real assessment of it and pressed it upon everybody else, then they don't want kayfabe to be alive, right? So it's one of those, like, a lot of people complain about kayfabe being alive and or dead, but it's like, if we do something that is supposed to be kayfabe, you got a whole world of people out there trying to shoot a hole in it, you know? So it's tough. I like to just take real life and build kayfabe around that. That's what I mean, I've always lived my life that way in general. Like, you know, say if I got hurt, I don't know, say I tripped and fell and hurt something, then in my next match, I'm going to get injured. You know what I mean? Like, because to me, I'm going to build kayfabe around a real situation. And then I purposely probably won't go get whatever's hurt and looked at until after that match, just so I can credit it to happening in the ring, building kayfabe around a situation that was already there, right? But if I did that, right, say I did that and somebody jumped in my comment section and said, I saw when you fell down, you hurt yourself, stop lying. Then it's like, what's the point in having kayfabe if they're not going to allow me to, you know what I mean? So is kayfabe dead or alive? It's really what we make of it. If you're somebody that will give a story a chance, then kayfabe is very much alive. But if you're somebody that's looking to shoot a hole in something, then kayfabe never had a chance. You know, like that's the best way I can describe it.
You're muted.
You mentioned earlier that you're more along the lines of, let's say, Roman Reigns, you know, where you can work as both a heel and a babyface, right? So which one do you prefer? Because to me, you come off as more of a heel. Everything that you're saying, you come off as more of a heel. So which one would you say you are more of?
I think by nature, like I'm from up north. Like I'm come from a very, you know, we talk aggressive kind of family, so it comes off as heel, but we got good on the inside, I promise. I would prefer, I don't know, I never thought of it that way. I guess I prefer babyface because, you know, being an asshole is easy. You know what I mean? So like I guess I prefer babyface so I can have the challenge. And, you know, again, to me it's still the same person. It's just instead of being an asshole or trying to get a cheap laugh or anything, like I would do all the same stuff but around different subjects, if that makes sense. Like that way it's not like I'm making fun of something, or I could just be making fun of something, but it would be that we're all laughing together with each other, not at someone or something. Like that's really what the difference is for me. It's like when I'm a heel, I'm shouting at or making fun of or whatever like that. But when I'm babyface, it's like I want everybody to laugh with, not at, and have a good time and just be in on the joke. That's kind of the thing. That's the difference. Is when we're babyface, I make sure the fans feel like they're in on it. But when I'm a heel, then I don't. I make them feel like the targets. You know what I mean? Like immediate target. Like the one lady in freaking Southern Pines or wherever that was. she called me a bitch on the way to the ring. I looked at her. I said, "Oh," I said, and I cut the music. I picked up the mic and I said, "Excuse me, lady, did you just call me a bitch?" And she said, "Yes, I did." Now, mind you, this was a big woman. So I said, "How you gonna call me a bitch? And you look like you just ate 3 bitches." And man, when I tell you, there was the loudest pop of the night in there. I was like, "Oh," but I was being a heel. But that was the loudest pop. Isn't that crazy? Like, and it's kind of weird. It makes people just want to see what's gonna happen next. So like, that's why I say I like both. I guess I prefer babyface because if I start out heel, there's never a face turn written for me. It always happens just naturally because of stuff like that. And I think they just like, oh snap, he said what we're all thinking, but nobody in here was gonna say like, and that's not always a blessing. It can be a curse sometimes too. But as for now, that's kind of why I prefer to play babyface. Yeah, and like at conventions and stuff, like WrestleCade. We just had WrestleCade this past Thanksgiving. Stuff like that, I thrive at that because I'm studying at that point. I love to study human behavior. Like I love it. I absolutely love it because I love to laugh at it, right? And at WrestleCade, my heart was content. Boy, I was laughing my ass off at my table, signing things and taking pictures and selling merchandise, laughing my ass off. And that, that kind of taught me studying people. When people come up to you and you laughing, they think you in a great mood. It makes them want to buy more t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? So like, I prefer to work babyface. Babyface helps selling gimmicks.
It makes sense to me. But the fact that you told this lady, that she looked like she just ate 3 bitches.
Oh man, I couldn't believe I got away with it. Bro. And when I got to the back, promoters laughing. You know what I mean? Like, and that's all you want. That's all you want. You want to, because you messed up. But if you go to the back and the ball, you're all right. And I tell everybody though, like you got to maximize that moment. If you're gonna do it all the way, like I said, step all. I can't just. But there's a way to do it too. You can't get on there and call her a fat, disgusting, whatever. You can't do that. You know what I mean? That takes no talent. You know what I'm saying? Like that takes no. That's not gonna get the crowd excited. That's gonna make the crowd say, "Oh man, that's go home heat." Because we live in a society where things are a little bit more sensitive. But if I tell, if I make fun of somebody through association of just what they look like rather than calling them this, then it's a little bit more lighthearted, but it's still heavy with the words I use, And I just love it. I love it, bro. I could live in those 30 seconds when it's just me and the crowd. I can live in that for the rest of my life.
And he'll tell you, I love a good heel, man. Like, there's nothing that, for instance, like he'll tell you, I'm a huge Ethan Page fan. And some of the work that he does, like you were talking about Javon Evans earlier, when he broke Javon Evans' jaw, and then Javon Evans tries to attack him, and he punches him in the broken jaw again. Like, that's diabolical to me. Or the fact that you sitting here calling somebody in the crowd saying that you look like you done ate 3 bitches, that is diabolical. That is crazy. Man. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not gonna get over that. That's crazy.
I don't know who got the video, but there's a video of it somewhere. And I was like, yo, I actually got away with it. Because I got to the back, and again, you know, when you come out of the ring, it's a lot going through your head at the moment. You're like, all right, is everybody okay? Was the match okay? Am I okay? And then you got to process. Oh shit! I did say something about that lady. I hope they ain't mad. I get through the curtain, and boy, when I see them laughing, that's the icing on the cherry on top. Like, all right, we made it. All I got to do is get paid and go home now.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit right there. Go ahead, bro.
So, we've been talking a lot about character work. We've been talking a lot about stepping outside yourself with the promos.
Right.
But we have not discussed your journey. And what I mean your journey is, what horror stories have you had within your journey that led you to this point?
A lot. Nah. I guess horror stories is a good way to put it. All right, so I originally trained up where I'm from, New Jersey, right?
Oh, okay. What part of Jersey?
I'm originally from Long Branch, and I was staying up in the Keensburg area though before
I know Long Branch. I'm from Atlantic City, so I know Long
Branch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I started training up in that area, trying to get out of the backyard wrestling thing. And, you know, long story short, we go through the training, and I didn't complete it all, but we got to the point of where I was able to possibly get a pre-show match, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited, but I didn't know if it was for sure, so I didn't tell nobody. I just like, all right, just do this, and if it's good, I'm gonna invite everybody to the next one. That's the type of person I am. So it went okay. It wasn't nothing to write home about, but it wasn't horrible. That night, one of the top guys there, and I'm not gonna name his name just for the mere fact of I don't know if he has an opportunity anywhere, and I don't want to be the one that, you know, I ain't trying to Vince McMahon a motherfucker. I ain't, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. But he said some pretty things that it's not, he wanted to chime in. He said some pretty messed up things that a younger Cam wasn't in the right headspace to just sit there and shut up and let go in one ear and out the other. So long story short, it didn't get physical, but I talked back and I thought wrestling was done. That was the summer or fall of 2015. And then it literally wasn't until February 2018 till I had another professional wrestling match, and I had already had to move down here. Yeah. So it was a horror story thinking that it was over. I mean, hell, I went back to backyard wrestling at that point. I said, "Oh, it's over now." I just stepped up to the wrong person. That's it. But you know, it was a horror story because I thought it was like, man, like that was so cool, and now I can't do it no more. But it ended up working out. That was one of the ones that ended up working out. Another horror story is that there was one show, the first time I didn't get paid. There we go. That's a good one. Show you how there's some things you can't take out of a person. Like that ruthlessness and that belligerentness is always going to be in me. I've done good with putting a lid on it, but it's always going to be in me. So we do a show, me and my tag team partners at the time. I was in a group with Drew Hood and Chief Django. And it's time for us to get paid because we got to go to another show. You know, pro wrestling and double shot works where, You get up, you go to one show. Once you get out of the ring, you hop in the car, you go to the next show. Try to make 2 paydays in one night. Very, very common thing, believe it or not. Well, the first promoter had some, he was just personally pissed off at Cam. He was. He decided he wasn't going to pay us at all. Like, okay. So, I said, I can sit here and I can argue with this man, or I can do something that demands I need my money. So I went out to the ring and started loosening the tightrope. I was going to leave with that motherfucker. I was like, okay, you ain't got my money, you won't have no show. Long story short, my money showed up magically. And that's how we avoided that horror. Another horror is when this happened here on my teeth. Right up in here. I don't know how well you can see it. It looks decent on camera. Damn. It's healing up. But I was in the ring and somebody was doing a move off of another person's shoulders. And I've taken this move from this person a billion times. So I had no reason not to trust them. And it was truly a mistake. They slipped. And when they slipped, their elbow hit me right here in the mouth. And it knocked these 2 teeth back further inside my mouth. Yeah, that one was scary. That was probably the scariest one. Got to the doctor. The ER. They was not trying to mess with me. They was not having it. And then eventually, I just begged the man. I said, "Oh, bro," I said, "just try to pull it forward. Like I can push it with my tongue." And then we literally pushed it back into place. And they made a makeshift brace, and it's been like healing ever since. Like, and it's not the prettiest, but all my teeth, it's still my original teeth. Praise God.
Sheesh, man. So it's safe to say you ain't doing Mark Briscoe.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, the goal is to get them replaced, but I don't want nothing I gotta pop out. if I'm gonna get my teeth replaced, it's gonna be a permanent replacement. It ain't gonna be no. I'll forget to take it out, and then me, I done had one too many of these, and then soak the tooth all up and shit. And I can't have that.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of situations in pro wrestling where wrestlers have lost teeth. We mentioned Mark Briscoe. Miz lost his tooth in one match one time. Miz lost his tooth.
Who was it? Castagnoli, Cesaro. They did the thing on Raw. Was it him and Jeff Hardy or something like that? Was that the two of them?
I believe so.
And the teeth just shot out of his mouth when he hit the dog. Bro, oh, that was scary. That was scary. And you hear all these stories and you say, well, this could happen at any time, but then you really start to believe it when it happens to you. You know what I mean? Like, my teeth thing. Now I'm very protective. Like when people like throw kicks and stuff, if there's a certain way to take a kick, there's a certain way to take a punch, there's a certain way to also do that so you don't knock your teeth out, but you get as close as you can as possible, There's ways to do all that. So now I'm very I would say that has matured me. We're talking about maturing. Like that's one of the things that has matured me. Is me now looking out not just for my own safety, but other people's safety. And that's the genesis, right? There's the yin and yang. Like he said, bro, I feel like I'm talking to a heel, but now that's the babyface side. Is that on the real end, I'm the first one. I'm watching at every indie show I'm at. I'm watching the monitor. I'm watching every match. Biggest reason why is like you can't claim or hang around with or associate with anything close to the best if you're not watching the whole show. Like, because 9 times out of 10 on that show, even if you had a perfect match, there's still somebody that did something better than you did. It don't matter where you find it. It could be as simple as stopping to look at the crowd. Somebody could have did that better than anybody that night. You know what I mean? Like, look at that stuff, study that stuff. Try not to, also watch the matches so you don't repeat what they're doing. But like, that's the other side. Ever since this stuff happened to me, I started to shift and be like, okay, well, what can I do to do this safely and still get the most out of it and pay attention more and all that. So yeah, but yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
What is the hardest you've been hit in a match?
It probably have to be when the elbow hit me in the teeth. I thought my whole jawline was gone. I really did, but it was just numb because of the teeth. But I thought I lost. I literally thought I lost half my face that night.
I couldn't imagine that. Like, I seen, like, just earlier I was watching. It was a TikTok, and you know how these dudes get these permanent grills put in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dentist has to remove the permanent grills, and you see like their teeth all rotted and stuff like that, and they have to start pulling. I can't imagine doing it. It's crazy. Like even the hockey players, you know what I'm saying? The hockey players that lose their teeth and by getting hit in the face with the stick or the puck or whatever, it was like I can't imagine like having that feeling of thinking that my jaw is broken, and in reality, I almost lost my damn teeth.
Yeah, yeah, and it never hits until it happens. It's like, oh, and then that whole time I'm sitting there trying to feel around and trying not to drop anything at the same time. I didn't know what was going on. I was a mess. I remember getting to the locker room. I was pissed off. I was not happy.
I would imagine that I would be fucking pissed off too if I feel like I lost my teeth. Like, hell no, bro. We done already seen guys like, Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu and a lot of them guys come back with veneers just because their stuff is already it was naturally like that. Or I think in Jacob's case, his has more along the lines of he wears all them grills all the time. So yeah. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I like my teeth too much.
That's what I'm saying. When I get these done up, boy, ain't nothing touching my teeth.
I know that's right. What is the craziest match you've been in?
There's a few. This past year I did 3 stages of hell. It was Barbed Wire Massacre at the end. Yeah, I never thought I'd be in one of those. I can tell you that. I've had all types of great matches with Drew Hood. Did a cage match with Brad Attitude. I don't know if you've heard of him. But yeah, he was not way back in the day, but he was with the Nick Nemeth era of WWE talent. He didn't necessarily get to where they did, but he's big around here. I have done all types of like hardcore and table matches, but I think the craziest one just by design was the 3 stages of hell with the Barbed Wire Massacre at the end. That was because that one hurt. Now that was the most pain I've ever inflicted on myself accidentally. I did a superplex off of the top rope, and my back ended up eating most of the barbed wire. And oh my goodness, like it was real barbed wire. It was not the fake. It was, and by God, we should have had it. But like there's a video of it pulling onto my flesh as I'm trying to get out of it. Like, oh, that one sucked. That one sucked.
I don't know, man. So what is it like? What is it like? Because we see it more so on AEW than we do on like WWE shows and stuff like that. WWE plays it more safe, where AEW would play little dangerous games every now and again. What is it like taking barbed wire?
If you playing it safe, if you gimmick the barbed wire, hopefully I'm not giving away too much of the business by saying that, but if you gimmick it to where, you know, the ends aren't as sharp, or if you bend them down or something, it's absolutely A-okay. But if you don't, and you do what my dumb ass did, and you drop your back onto it and it's still sticking up in numerous places, it's gonna hurt, and it's not gonna go away overnight. Like, you're gonna have to disinfect it. You're gonna have to like aloe vera that mug. You're gonna have to be on it. Like, it's a whole. You need, like, it needs to be looked at. Like, it's bad. I wouldn't recommend it unless it is brand stinking new. If it is fresh out to wherever the hell barbed wire come from, factory. Okay, if it is fresh out of there, then maybe. But I still wouldn't recommend it. I'd say gimmick it all the way. It's me saying it. Everybody like, be a tough guy. That's that age of smoking cigarettes before you get in the ring is gone. Like,
you mean you're not going to do an R-Truth? Remember when R-Truth was doing the cigarette thing?
That was genius when he did it. But, like, you know, if you have a chance and you're taking barbed wire, ask them if they can gimmick it. It's just you appreciate it the next day. The next day you wake up and be like, oh, all right, I can, you know, you might not be able to lay down that night. That night when I did when I did the suplex to the barbed wire and it was stuck in my back, I couldn't lay flat on my back at all. And I never understood how people couldn't just fall asleep until that night. You know, people be like, I got to sleep a certain way. That night I realized I have to sleep a certain way. And when I can't, I'm a moody motherfucker. Boy, I was in here, me and the dog was in here having straight up arguments. Like, it was something. So yeah, it's gimmick it. Gimmick the hell out of it.
What do you think when you see guys like Jon Moxley taking barbed wire, or, you know, those spots in AEW where you got Ricochet using the scissors on somebody's head, or, you know, you got Moxley using forks on people's heads, like Hangman Page at All In. Like, what do you think when you see that kind of stuff?
I think they are making some damn good money, because that's the only way. That's the only way. And because they're white. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. That's the truth, man. I love wrestling, but there's some things a white wrestler do that a black wrestler would be like, hold up, you want me to do what now? Nah, they making good money, and that's what they specialized in. Like, a lot, those guys come from that background already. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Moxley especially, and all those guys that toured in Japan. I mean, they came up essentially around the peak / end of the deathmatch era over there. Like, so it's kind of in them to want to emulate that and take it to the next level when they do stuff like that. And I understand it. If you making, you know, if you could afford the healthcare that comes with it and all the cleanup and all that, then by all means. But, you know, if you still working your way up the ladder, wait. You know what I mean? Wait until you get there.
Yeah, you brought up something about white folk. So did it make you think just a tad bit different when you saw Swerve do it?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Swerve ain't got me fooled, man. Hell no.
Nah, Swerve's been through some wars. I've seen some very gruesome matches with Swerve.
Bro,
Not just
he had Hangman's blood in his mouth, bro.
Look,
but
I'm
see,
telling you, I'm not denouncing the man's blackness by any means. I completely recognize him as a black was a former AEW champ, right? I recognize him. I'm very proud of him and for what he stands for. But it goes to step one, making a whole lot of money. Because I tell you what, go ahead, go over there to Bobby Lashley. Ask Bobby Lashley to do that. Why watch what Bobby Lashley be like, hell no. He gonna hit that Lashley voice on him quick. He gonna
Yeah, a lot of people don't know though. Like Swerve comes from that background though. Like he was in CCW. He was like one of the ultraviolet champions at one point.
Yeah. When he had that gash in his back from CCW.
Yeah.
I remember that picture. He comes from that background. And giving him his props, like he's about it. Like when you're gonna do it all the way. You know what I mean? Like it does, like, to me, again, the art that's not particularly my kind of art, because if it happens so often, like AEW has already had more death matches than WWE has in the last 10 years.
Yep.
Like that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like it's happening too often. If you space it out to where it builds to these things and they're not so often, I think we'd appreciate it a little bit more. And I think more people would have, like, I think my mindset would be changed on it, because I wouldn't see it every time I turn over to the main AEW story. It's just too much blood, guts, and gore for everybody to come back the next week perfectly fine. You know what I mean? That's an issue. Like, it'd be one thing if people was disappearing, and then when they do disappear, it's because they fucking got hurt for real. And I'm like, whoa, and granted, again, I'm not shit talking AEW. I mean, it's a whole wrestling company, and I'm sitting here in my home office. You know what I mean? So trust me, I know where I'm at. But what I'm trying to say is, like, if it didn't happen all the time, they'd have a better chance at starting to build something that you can look forward to, right? Like the Elimination Chamber. If the Elimination Chamber happened more than once a year, you wouldn't care. You would choose which one to watch. You know what I mean? You would be like, well, I'm gonna watch the Winter Chamber because the Winter Chamber is better than the Summer Chamber. Like, if there was 2 Money in the Bank matches a year, it'd be the same thing. Instead, you space it out and you build up to these things so that when they happen, it's like, oh, it means something now. As to where, these guys, literally, I mean, how many times in 2025 have people borderline died on camera on AEW? Like, man.
Darby Allin had like a few of those.
Right. Now his case is a little different, right? Because that's his thing. But outside of that, have one guy at least. You know what I mean? Like, have one guy. Don't, like, why everybody got to be a badass that makes somebody bleed and cut somebody from ear to ear with their hands?
Now, and I'm not knocking Darby, you know what I mean, for his extreme way of life or nothing like that. But I just feel like at times, like, the risk that he takes could be detrimental to his health long term. And I feel like right now he's young, so he could take the trauma for a little bit. But what happens when we get he get up there in his 30s and his 40s, and if he's still going to be doing this, like, you know what I'm saying, is he going to still take those extreme bumps? Because not for nothing, if you go back to the days of ECW, there's a few ECW wrestlers now that can't even lift a finger because of the extreme bumps they took, like, you know, in the past.
I met sometime within the last couple of years, I met Stan Hansen, right? And he's not an old ECW worker or nothing, but you know, he's a legend.
Right.
And he's actually one of my favorite wrestlers. I know it's shocking, right? A lot of people wouldn't think Stan Hansen one of my favorite wrestlers. But I shook his hand. And, you know, I thought my hand was a little deformed, but I look on this camera, my hand looked normal. His hand, mind, this is a man that if you seen him bump, it wasn't like he went through tables or nothing like that. Like his hand was all like, you know what I mean? It was crazy. So I imagine what the old, old deathmatch workers got to go through, and that's what scares me about like Darby Allin. But again, brother getting paid nice, like I just wish again, don't just do it because you can, do it because it makes sense, or because we've built to this to where we have no choice but to do this. Like we're gonna drop the ball if we don't do this. But don't just be like, all right, well, you can do that. You can fall from all the way up there. Fuck it, let's do it. Not everything's an effort. Let's find out. Not everything is. It's not always like that, and it's like that too often in AEW. It's just, and again, I like some of the show, but I just don't see. I don't hate the guys. I don't hate the company. I don't see the point though in doing so much blood stuff. Especially if everybody's going to come back next week perfectly fine. Like that just doesn't add up to me.
Well, it's just like a few things that a good friend of ours, Too Cold Scorpio, said. Like, he said that, like the bumps that are being taken now are not, you know what I mean? It's they're not special anymore because of the fact that they do it so often. If you save those special bumps, if you save those special maneuvers for moments, people appreciate them more, and he's right because he's like one of the innovators and originators of like hybrid super style type of bumps that you At the time he was doing it, nobody was doing that really like that. Unless you were a luchador, you know what I'm saying? Unless you were a luchador and you were in Mexico somewhere. But in the States, like not too many people were doing that, and he was doing it effortlessly. But the thing with him was he wasn't doing it like he wasn't doing it to a point where like it was all the time. It was basically like when it was needed. You know what I'm saying? There was some moves that he did like I didn't even know he knew how to do. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it if you have an OG like him saying it, then it's gotta be, it's gotta be facts, it's gotta be facts.
Yeah, it's just I really think it's just proven. Like I think it's something that, if I'm being honest, like just throughout time you can see it in all these wrestlers. Like, just look at any like wrestler arc from where they were to where they were right before they stopped. You know what I mean? Like even the Undertaker looked shaky on his last few go rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell when it's there. And this is a man that had 30 years of damn near 30 years of doing the same thing, if not trying to find different gear changes within that same thing. Like, and that wasn't too dangerous for him, but like this just the stuff is dangerous now, bro. Like, and we're giving a lot away. Like as wrestlers, we're giving a lot away. You go to the indie shows, and that's why, like I said, you really gotta. It's so difficult, but you gotta have a lot of heart to be an indie wrestler. Some of these guys go out there and they empty the tank, man. These guys do. You'll see Canadian destroyers, backflips, people laying on their feet. Look, man. I just seen motherfucker double moonsault, did everything, but besides call his mother when he was in midair. I swear to God, did everything besides that. Mm-hmm. Land moonsault, get up, and then do a corkscrew. I look back like. I look at the process and they say, "You paying this son bitch $30, ain't you?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's craziness. You know what I mean? That's just it shows to the heart of the wrestler, but just how hard it is, how difficult it is. And again, that bump card, man, it's few and far in between now. Like, they need to mean something. Yeah. Everything's got to mean something, man. Like, why would you do things if you can't give a meaning to do it, if you can't give a reasoning? You know, like that's, you know, I don't know. It's those like simple things about wrestling that a lot of people don't get, you know?
You don't think because of the, you know, well, let me phrase it like this. You don't think it's because they're passionate about the sport of professional wrestling is why they go so hard for such a long period of time, even though they might be getting pennies to the nickel? You know, you don't think it's because of that? Because, like, we spoke to a lot of professional wrestlers, and, you know, a lot of times when they explain why they do what they do, even if, you know, I mean, the promotion's not paying them as well as the next guy, they just do it because they're just passionate for the art form. And they feel like they'll be doing a disservice if they don't, you know, don't go out there and go all out, you know, and so the fans can enjoy.
I feel like there's some of it, you know, I mean, I feel like some of it's passion, and I feel like some of that's also a cliche thing that we've heard so many times from people, that a lot of people have adopted that. Like, I think that's true for like your first couple of years, right? Because there's really no money in it your first couple of years at all. But like, you can still have that passion and be business smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm not traveling the country or on TV, but I make what I feel I'm worth when I wrestle. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people are missing that part of it. Like, they're missing that. Like, you can have all the passion in the world. You can go out there and sign it in hopes that somebody important is going to see this and give you what you want out of it. But although that's a possibility, it's never guaranteed, right? So you have to, you know, again, for as much passion as out there, I believe that's the reason why people keep doing it. But I don't know if that's the reason why people go out there and try to have WrestleMania on a night where they're supposed to have Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's kind of the difference. The line I draw there is like, yeah, there's passion, but you know, they're still being smart. Like, if you know you got to do 3 shows this weekend and the third show is going to pay you the most, then on show 1, if show 1 is paying you the least and there's not really much, you know, stake in the ground there, bro, then you got to take it easy on show 1. You know what I mean? Like, you can't give them night 3 on night 1.
Right.
You know, you got to give them night 1, but you gotta make it worth what was paid, you know. Right. And then you got to make sure the fans first and foremost feel entertained, because if they don't like it, then you definitely ain't coming back.
Right.
And that's why I'm big on just being crowd heavy for that reason, so I don't have to mix my passion. You know what I mean? So I don't have to fall on that. But yeah, I think some of it's passion, but a lot of it is them them wanting, yes, again, yes, passion, wanting to be the best, wanting to have the best match, wanting to have the best moves. But a lot of that selfishness too on a card, because how many times have you watched a wrestling show and then seen the same move in almost every match, right? Like, then it's not special anymore. You can't pop for the big super kick if you've seen it all night. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that. I think some of it's passion, some of people use passion as an excuse to get themselves over, for selfishness. Like, am I passionate about wrestling? I can tell you I love it. Passionate when it comes to certain aspects of it, but I also know that if I ain't making a certain amount, my black ass is happy sitting on that ramp with that mic in my hand, making fun of the crowd. You know what I mean? And you want to see me get in there and do the taker dive, then I'm gonna need, and you want a really good match to get somebody over. That's fine. I can do that no matter what you pay me. But there's levels, there's. And that's with any business. Like, that's like all these subscription based, like, you get your starter package. It's usually, how all these streaming services do. You get the one with ads that's a little cheaper, and then you get the one without ads that's everything in the kit and caboodle. It costs you an arm and a leg. That's how we, and that's what I kind of call booking indie wrestling. Like, it's like having a bunch of Netflix subscriptions. Like, when you're a promoter or a booker, you're looking at that because you got to pay that probably monthly. You know what I'm saying? If you want to keep this person around,
right?
So you want to make sure what you pay for in January is still worth the same in October. And it's a whole system. But yeah. I've got far off the point, went off on a hard ass tangent, but yeah, some of it's passion, yes.
Yeah, no, I get it. Go ahead, bro.
So where do you see what out of all the companies that we have out there right now, where does Cam Jackson see himself fitting in the best?
I think for who I am and how I act, obviously, I wouldn't, you can't drink till after the shows, but, I think my attitude backstage and on camera would fit well for a show like Fourth Rope.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm cliche with it. My goal is everybody else's goal at WWE. I don't care if I'm wrestling. I don't care if I'm commentating. I don't care if I'm backstage pressing a button. I just want to work there. The biggest reason why that's the job I wanted to have since I was a kid. Since I was a kid, I never dreamed of main eventing WrestleMania. I just dreamed of working in the WWE somehow. And I'm okay with any job as long as it ain't sweeping the damn floor. I ain't gonna be waiting till everybody leave that damn arena. It'd be late as hell. But other than that, I'll do any other job they got. I'm very big into creative writing and pitching ideas, and very, very in touch with the crowd. I always try to be very in touch with the crowd so that they can get it. But I'm also myself too, and I my big thing is not sacrificing those pillars of what make you to try to be something like, nah, man. If I acted any other way than how I actually act, I would snap. I would lose my mind after all this was done. But because I am so much like myself and I don't hold back too much, obviously there's certain social parameters you got to keep in mind. You can't run around just willy-nilly doing almost anything. You gotta have some sort of barrier.
So, what is it about? Let's do this. What is one thing about each company? I'm gonna say WWE, AEW, and let's say TNA, because those are the three biggest companies that we have in America right now. What is one thing about that each company gives that's important to you?
WWE give you security. They'll give you security off a guaranteed contract and an opportunity to uphold your obligation at the very, very minimum to be able to make money and sustain, right? AEW will probably give you the chance to live your dream a little faster. They probably will help, let you have a little bit more insight on being who you want to be at first. But I also feel like a lot of what AEW does is to say F WWE, and that I don't like working with anybody whose objective is to say F you to somebody else. Like, that we shouldn't be worried about what they're doing over there, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's invest in TNA. Biggest thing about TNA is the perfect company to put yourself on the fast track to go to WWE. That's what TNA offers. They literally offer the fast track. Like, they offer you the opportunity to be in front of eyes, to work with, to be around, and then the whole time WWE is scouting it, So like, it's TNA is probably an indie wrestler's dream right now. If you end up in TNA, but that's now, that's where it's okay to go have WrestleMania every night, because the same people that book WrestleMania is watching. Like, that's where it's okay. But like, yeah, that'd be the biggest thing about all three. WWE is the granddaddy. That's the company, you know what I mean? So it's like, you always want to make it to the big dance, you know what I'm saying? Like, you always want to say you made it all the way to finals, all the way to nationals, all the way to wherever. and WWE is that. AEW is the alternative, right? It's the cool renegade other one out there, and holding its own. Might not have some ways that everybody agree with, but it's holding its own, and best thing about it is they have the Ring of Honor section too, so that there's space on the roster. But TNA is like, it's the smaller of the three, but it's the only one with a direct link to get to where most people want to go, which is the WWE. So that's the biggest thing they offer.
Well, as we start winding down, I want to ask you something. I asked this question to, we have a lot of black wrestlers that come on our show, because that's, nothing against, any other wrestler, but we kind of prioritize, our brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? So where do you see black wrestling today? Do you think it's in a good spot? You think it's in an okay spot? You think it could be better? Like, where do you see it?
I think, believe it or not, I think we're a lot further in this race, and a lot further in this journey than anybody thinks we are. You know what I mean? I actually think, now I'm not saying it's over yet. Now, I'm not saying we 100% equal or nothing like that, because we all know that's not true. But what I will say is, we have, at the very minimum, representation everywhere, in every top company, in every top division, in every top company. We have representation there. And I think us as black wrestling fans, sometimes we become wrestling fans at the heart of it, and we want something now that the people that we want in those positions didn't necessarily work towards yet. And a lot of the argument gets thrown back at, this, well, they don't want to book these people. They don't want to book this one. They don't want. And I think, like, sometimes as Black people, we got to also enjoy the ride too, and I'm not saying sit back and shut up. No, I'm not saying that one bit. But what I am saying is, like, we can't take everything as an attack against us in wrestling, especially because let's take Javon Evans, for example. They have been pushing this kid to the moon, right? Kevin Nash said something that was in poor taste. It was. And the crazy thing is, I understood what he meant, so I didn't take it that way. You know me, like I said at the beginning, I see shit like that and I laugh. Well, he said what? I started dying laughing. Not because the statement's funny, but because I know everybody's reaction. Everybody jumping on Kevin Nash racist. Kevin Nash has advocated for more Black people and Black wrestlers than any other one on the planet.
Yeah, it's true.
And true. What he was saying was the kid is so good that y'all don't need to have him doing all this dancing and shit and, trying to do this coming down the aisle with whoever the hell it was that week. That's what he was saying. He was saying you don't have to be Madea. You know what I mean? That's what he was trying to say. But I think he felt like saying that would be even more, But as Black people, you gotta sometimes back up and be like, yo, man, he wasn't trying to say this is how he sees us. He was trying to say this is how he don't want people to see us. And then the whole situation blew into this thing when it was really just him trying to support and say, like, yo, the kid is good. Don't make him another dancer. Don't make him another stereotypical Black. Make him him. Turn up what he's got. Let him do that. That's his art, is connecting with today's youth by being today's youth. Like, just let him do that. Don't force him to go out there and super smile and dance and all this. Like if he want to dance, then let him dance on his own. That's. But us Black wrestlers, like we're here now where we can do that. We can put Javon Evans on the screen and say, "Go ahead, young man. You go ahead and talk with your slang. Go ahead and talk how you talk. Go dress how you dress. Trick Williams, act how you act. You can do that now. When good and hell well, 10 years ago, we had that. We had that 10 years ago. We had that 12 years ago. But it wasn't Javon Evans and Trick Williams. It was fucking crime time. You know what I mean? Like, you see the difference? So, like, we have come a long way because now they can do that and they don't have to be robbing people. They don't have to be selling the stereotype for comedy. You know what I'm saying? Do I think they deserve more opportunities? Yeah, but I'm biased. I'm always going to be a little biased because I know how hard it is to be a Black wrestler and to finally, I go through, to this day, bro, I get in front of crowds and they say the N-word and I gotta, you know what I mean? If I flip my script though, I make us all look bad. That's the thing. The second I lose my cool and beat up somebody that isn't a grown man, you know what I mean? And because they said the N-word, they can flip the narrative on that, well, that's just too, we get shutting them up, but then you ain't have to, it turns into all this. So like, we've come further, but yes, we're still examined more. We're always going to be examined more. We're always going to be talked about more. We're always going to be looked at harder. That's America. This is an American sport. Like, it is what it is. We're gonna be under the magnifying glass. Best thing to do underneath there is smile and show our damn teeth and keep pushing. Like, that's so we've come a long way. We're not done yet. We're gonna keep move forward, but still got to realize we got to celebrate the successes that we have. I mean, like, who was it? Was it ACH that quit the WWE because of the shirt?
Yeah.
You know, and that one I understood. See, like, and that was one of those things like, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I get what the design was meant to be, and I don't think anybody in the creative thought anything racist when they did that. I thought they thought of that big ass smile and just putting it on a shirt. And I think they thought of how cool it would be, and had it been on anything but a black shirt, this shit would be a winner. But you know, the release, when you see that, you know, that's, and then the company got to stand up for it. You got to hold somebody accountable. So like, we jumped on that. That was the right thing to jump on. You know what I mean? But like, jumping on other things because so and so didn't get a main event, or so and so's time got short, or there's not enough. There was no black people in the main event of this show. I'm like, well, sometimes they got to earn their way there too. You know what I mean? Like, we just because Booker T worked hard and Booker T's a world champion doesn't mean I should be yet. Like, I still got to earn my stripes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I think a lot of people got to get that in their heads. Like, it takes a lot of individual work. Like, as long as we keep doing our part in showing love to these incredible performers of color, and even some that aren't, like, that'll always ring true. Like, those flowers will blossom the best. Like, once we just keep showing love to who, then we'll change it day by day. But yeah, you know, to the main point, black wrestling is in a better place now, but it's still got a ways to go. It'll always have a ways to go, because we should never be content with being just black wrestling. We should just be wrestling at this point. You know what I mean?
Which leads me to one question. So, we mentioned Booker T. We mentioned R-Truth. So, as we know, R-Truth was fired a few months back, right? Mm-hmm. It goes on record that he was fired, but then they say they didn't fire him. They just let the contract expire, blasey, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. He goes on the Breakfast Club, and he literally says that, you know, he don't say it in the same wording I'm using, but he literally says that, yeah, they let him go. They got rid of him. And then his son actually comes on board and confirms that. So they let him come back, you know what I mean? And the reason why I mentioned R-Truth is because, you know, a lot of people were up in arms because of his character, the chucking and jiving and things like that, right? So how do the black wrestlers themselves get past that when you have somebody like a R-Truth who's doing that, or you have a Booker T that might be doing something similar? You know what I'm saying? What type of message is being sent with the OGs that's going down to the younger ones? How could that be reset?
Well, like, so I think we have to remember, right? For every Booker T or R-Truth, there's a Goldust. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's a non-black wrestler that had to do something a little bit more out there and got the same feedback. Maybe felt like what it was to get to be on a part of
right.
I think R-Truth was just genuine slapstick comedy at first. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, he started incorporating more of himself. And then that's why I use the phrase, like, black is beautiful. Like, a lot of people would look at what R-Truth did and excuse the expression, they call it cooning, you know. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, well, yep. You know, cooning for them white folks, you know, just trying to get a laugh. And I'm like, okay, so you telling me that if that's his real personality, and these are some of the funny jokes that he's helping creatively come up with, because it's been on record that he helps come up with some of that shit.
Yeah.
So how is he cooning for anybody if it's his idea and he's putting money in his pocket? I'm like, this man is working. You know what I mean? Like, he working. Now, he's not saying, I could understand if he was out there and was, you know, on TV playing the head Negro, like, I could understand. But, like, he's out there doing just senile uncle shit, you know? Like, and he's still cool while doing it. And I think it's a lot for him is his tenure in the business. His longevity has earned him the opportunity to do stuff like that. Like, yes, there's certain people and certain characters that have taken our culture and turned it up to 1,000, like Booker T, like Art. Hell, even like the New Day to a certain extent. But like, that's the good thing. That's the good thing is our culture. It shows to me that shows more that our culture is such a marketing machine, because like, look at the New Day, bro. That started off as an idea, and they got 2 WWE champions out of it. You know, R-Truth, who literally we just floated around mid cards all in WWE, is one of the biggest mainstay household names. Booker T, who wasn't even a WWE guy to begin with. He was a WCW guy, one of the most recognizable WWE stars of all time. And not to mention all those guys that I mentioned are black to the day they die, bro. They don't fake it. They there for the fight. They there. But like, we can't, if we don't have R-Truth and we don't have Booker T, then we can't appreciate Mark Henry. You know what I mean? Like, it's like little things like that kind of like, I can respect what they doing to lay the groundwork. R-Truth was doing this. Like, if we don't have Truth doing that role, the company wouldn't be more comfortable giving freedom to other, you know what I mean? But Truth gets in that role and Booker T slams it in his role, then it's okay to be like, well, F it. Let's see where Kobe can go with this thing. You know, like, let's see where Big E can go with this, see where Bobby Lashley can go with this thing. And then we get more of those serious characters out of that, because you know that if you're going to invest in something, you got to make it worth investing in. Right now, they're trying to build that around people like Javon and Trick over time. And when the time comes, it'll be there. But like, I don't think they hurt black wrestling or black people. I think they definitely highlighted stereotypes at a certain time. But, you know, I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I don't let other people think they own those stereotypes though. Like, you know, if you're going to do something, do it because Cam Jackson would have done it, not because a black man would have done it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's really the line. That's the line right there. Do it because you would have done it, not because a black man would have.
Right. Yeah. I agree 110%. You know, I do think there's a fine line. I also feel like, you know, you basically become who people are accustomed to seeing. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like with R-Truth and Booker T in this stage of their career, people are accustomed. When I'm saying people, I'm like the organization, the promotion are accustomed to them doing that. And you know what I'm saying? And it's not like they can just, you know, like, you know, turn it off and just be like, yo, you know what I mean? That's their character. That's who their character is now. I mean, we might not like it, but that's who they are now, you know? And trust and believe, like, you know, I didn't really care for it like that neither, but I do understand these are characters that they're playing. It's not like that's how they walk around outside of wrestling. You know, as much as you people would like to think that
Yeah.
this is what they do. They don't do that. And me and him was going back and forth with so many people about that. That's not, you know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, that's not really who they are outside
So
of the ring.
the only person, my favorite example to use for that is D'Lo Brown, right? D'Lo Brown is the most, like, he's the most clear. You know how people say you talk black, you don't. D'Lo Brown, you wouldn't be able to tell if he was on the phone with D'Lo Brown who he was, because unless he told you he was D'Lo Brown, right? Because how he holds himself, how he carries himself. But then you see that character on TV, and then you see all this, like you you wouldn't know, like. So like I tell people, like, D'Lo Brown mastered knowing when to turn it off. You know what I mean? Like, I literally have met D'Lo Brown 4 times, like, and had a few, lengthy conversations with him. Nothing crazy. It's not like we exchanging birthdays or nothing. But like, I have never seen him once go like this, and I've never seen him once come out of come out of characters and start spouting out random shit and acting all, crazy. He's always been just like, in my opinion, normal, mellow, down to earth dude. You know what I mean? And I say, like, he's what we should study, because he knew how to leave that character on screen and then conduct himself, like not just anybody, but a well-respected just man. You know what I mean? Off screen.
Right.
And same thing with Ron Simmons. Like Ron Simmons, bro, like he got on there with the Nation of Domination and started spitting out facts, spitting out facts and great. But then, he get off screen and he just be Ron Simmons, down to earth man, built on respect. And those are people like that don't get enough credit. I mean, we give them their flowers, but they don't get enough credit because they don't see it as just black wrestling. They're proud of black wrestling. Like, I'm proud of black wrestling, but when black wrestling and black wrestlers alike start to see us as just wrestling, that's when shit will get better. Like, because we are wrestling now. You know what I mean? We've had too many WWE champions not to be considered wrestling now. You know what I'm saying? Like, before we only had half of The Rock. Now, I mean, we didn't have Kofi, we didn't have Big E, we didn't have Lashley. We're gonna end up getting over Femi eventually. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're trying to long term tell this long ass story, however long it takes for Trick Williams too. Like, possibly Javon if we get there over time. Like, we're gonna have it's gonna be there. But it's a lot on us too. We can't be crashing out. You know what I'm saying? We can't be crashing out. I'm guilty of it. I done crashed out in a few places, but like, we be crashing out and it scares them. And to us,
bro, I think you crashing out would be part of you saying that lady looked like she ate 3 bitches.
But like, in that look, people, you're right. But like, people, when we crash out, bro, they get so like, oh shit, he's gonna break everything every time we see him. Like, rather than understanding it's just one instance, it's one bad time. But for us, that one bad time is a lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's
I hate
hard
that
to
stereotype. Not to cut you off, I hate that stereotype so much because it's like we have to harness our emotions, and we can't express our emotions or our disdain for anything because everybody's going to go, haywire, and everybody's going to get, want to clear the way and stuff like that. And I don't think that's fair neither. You know what I'm saying? Like, expressing your emotions is healthy, just as long as you're expressing it for the right reasons. You get what I'm saying? So if I have a certain disdain about something and I want to just let it out. If I'm doing it for all the right reasons and it leads to something positive, then why can't I just speak my mind? But I tell you this, on the other side of the coin too, you know, fans of the IWC, man, they be, whew, man.
Tough place.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I completely understand.
I'll be afraid of the IWC. You can't even squint the wrong way talking to them motherfuckers. But
they crazy, bro. They crazy.
Yeah.
And then they cancel you, right? They cancel you and then say some shit worse than you ever did. You know, like what? You know, so that's why I've been on my P's and Q's these last few years. I'm like, I'm not gonna get canceled over that. I'm gonna make sure I'm in front of a crowd when I mess up.
Yeah, not for nothing though, and this is my last, you know, whatever. Not for nothing though. I don't necessarily like that. Why should you have to harness yourself just to appease the IWC when 99.9% of the time the IWC is not right? You know what I'm saying? We go back and forth with people in the IWC all the time. We be with all gas, no brakes with people because I'm like, this sport is about expression, and you guys be taking it to the utmost extreme with the insults, like your entitlements, talking about botches and things like that, when half of y'all don't even got an athletic bone in your body. Like, you know what I mean? I've recently seen posts about so many wrestlers, and then I will go back and forth with people in the comment section just over that alone. You know what I'm saying? Because I just have a certain type of opinion on how things should be looked at. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in the wrestling ring. I don't know how hard that move is to do. Like, why am I, you know what I mean? He botched. It happens. Botches, it's part of the sport. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like, you know, but
it's live action.
Exactly. It's a movie, basically. It's a movie. So, like, sometimes you got to do a retake. Sometimes you don't get a chance to do a retake. But I think that's what's so special about it, too, because you guys are doing things. Some of the time, y'all doing things on the fly. Like, a lot of times, like, I've heard wrestlers just call their stuff. They don't even rehearse it. It's not rehearsed. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not even rehearsed. It's just called. Like, yeah, I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's that. I love that. I love that walking talk. I love to call it as we go because that's the art to me. That's art. You know? That's one part of it. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. That's all I got. You know. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it to the homie to close out.
I got a few quick hitters for you. So, quick hitter number one. Who is one wrestler you still want to step in the ring with?
I want to step in the ring with Alex Kane.
Oh, Boombaye. Oh, okay. Kane definitely watches the show too. We had Kane on the show like years ago, so I definitely think he would, you know, be watching it. You know, I would like to see that for sure. I would like to see that.
I never got to get in there with him, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that would be dope. That would be dope. I would, yeah, I would pay money to see that. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we got Alex Kane for that one. What's tougher, the physical pain or the mental grind of the business?
Mental grind, 100%.
What makes that more tougher?
Because we got to grow up as we going through it. So, like, you know, spend a lot of time on the road, and you know, this is this ain't like Hollywood on the road where it's a green room and you know one celebrity because he was in that one movie somewhere. Like sometimes you go to wrestling shows and ain't nobody you know in that motherfucker. Like ain't no famous name, ain't no reputable name, and you just gotta hope that it's good because and hope they ain't gonna skimp out on your money and then find out about yourself and deal with situations on the fly and then say you driving 10 hours back home. Hopefully you don't blow out a tire and extend your trip because you got to be back at your regular job in the morning, and then on top of all of that, if some of these guys, I'm lucky right now. Well, I shouldn't say lucky, but I'm not in the position where I have to provide for anybody else but myself, and my dog, obviously. But I don't have any children. But some of these guys got kids, so they got to go back home to a whole ass family, so they don't get no rest. They, and then they still trying to crack at making it somewhere. So definitely the mental, because you constantly ask yourself, like, should I just stop? Like, you know what I mean? Should I just, this shit ain't cracking. What's going on? It's a lot of trying to talk yourself in and out of stopping,
That makes perfect sense. What's one thing fans don't understand about being an independent wrestler?
That we're still human. That although we're still human, we still like our privacy too. Like, yes, we're not John Cena. We're not all these people that you got to get in the line to line up to see. You could, let alone you might be able to see your local wrestler at the grocery store, but still treat them with enough respect not to just roll up on them. Don't just roll up on them, or don't just say whatever you want because you heard them say it at a show. Like, I've had fans. And luckily I'm cooler about it because again, I don't have kids. If I had kids, I'd turn around and slap the hell out of somebody. But I've had fans come up to me in public and recite some of the stuff that I say at some of these shows, which is not stuff you should just be shouting out in the middle of Walmart. I'm over there. Like, hey, yo, Cam, wash your ass. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Over here trying to get some juice, and you talking about come on, man, the whole store is stop and turn too. Just make everything a whole bad situation. But yeah, we human, but we respect our privacy. We just give us the little bit of space. I'm not saying don't approach, but watch your approach. Hey, are you this person? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna stop and take a picture with you anyway. So just play it cool. That's what I think fans need to understand about independent wrestlers. Play it cool. Don't play it like we just play it cool.
All right. We got that one. If you could steal one finishing move from any wrestler in history, whose would it be and why?
Probably the RKO. If he never did it first, probably the RKO because it's the perfect finishing move. It's perfect. It's perfect. You hit it out of anywhere. You can set it up. You catch somebody out the sky. You could do it on the floor. You could do it in the ring. The RKO is a perfect move. So if Randy Orton came up with the RKO, but I was a better known wrestler at the time and I decided to use it on TV first, I would have stole that one. Now I wouldn't do it, but I would that definitely.
What's the most disrespectful thing an opponent has ever done to you in the ring?
Definitely spit on me without okaying it with me beforehand. Yeah, I mean, I got even. I handled it, but that's definitely the most disrespectful thing. Is I thought this shit was about to get real. I was like, oh, okay, but I know they was doing it for the story, but they could have said something ahead of time. But it's all right. I ended up spitting back eventually, and I know my spit was nasty when I spit on him. So we was definitely even. So.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Hold on. First off, if I don't care, okay, I get it. Bro, you spit in my face without okaying it with me. We fighting. I'm not talking about no wrestling match. I'm talking about we coming to real blood. What did Undertaker say? You got that receipt coming, and you gonna feel said receipt.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, you're right. I made sure they felt that receipt. I definitely made sure they felt it.
Like spitting in somebody's face, spitting on somebody, period, is one of the most disrespectful things you can do to anybody. Like boy.
Yeah, it take you to a place, don't it?
Nah, man, I'm telling. Ask him. We were talking about it the other day, talking about having some crazy friends. And he said, "Nah, I can tell you crazy. You crazy. Bro, I don't play that nonsense. I do not. Like my son. He's 6. Don't get me wrong. He's 6. He may not know any better, but he was playing around one day and he accidentally spit in my face.
Oh,
I had to calm myself down. Yeah, because I had to remember that's your son and he's only 6. You better believe. Yeah, you better believe I had a stern talk with him to the point to where when I was done talking to him, I didn't hit him. I didn't lay my hands on him. I didn't spank his butt. But he was crying when I was done.
Word. And
like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Like, no, that made even with you saying that, like, made my blood boil.
Yeah, it's one of those. And like it's such a split decision thing because it's like I could flip the script and dump this dude on his back and just start. But then it's like the second I do that, again, black wrestlers, bro, you got to think about it. I don't just mess it up for me. All of us now, you know what I'm saying? It's all of us. And the Cam lost his mind. They're gonna look at every other black wrestler that comes through those doors, So I mean, I kept it down, but then I still, like I said, I still got even though, like, we just gotta. But yeah, going back to it, yeah, that was the most disrespectful thing. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. It was tough.
Ooh, man, ooh. What's one move that always fires up the crowd for you?
Scoop slam / elbow drop. So, in the 2 simplest moves I do. Well, I do a lot of simple moves, but the scoop slam is what I do. When I drop the scoop slam, I usually bounce up in the air, jump up as high as I can, and I'll stop over the person. And a big gimmick of mine is the elbow drop, but not off the top rope. I literally will run to the rope like Hogan, come back and drop my elbow. And it's gotten so over. Like I sell T-shirts that say elbow drop on them now. Like it's so over, and it fires up the crowd so much. Like I think it's because I didn't give up on it. It was the first thing I did that I didn't give up on. A lot of people were like, "That's stupid." They're like, I don't know if that works in today's wrestling. I'm like, well, I don't care if it works in today's wrestling. It's gonna work when I'm wrestling. Like, and just kept pushing it. And now, like, literally the coolest thing ever was we did a show at Lenny Boy Brewing a year or 2 ago, and there was like 500 people there, and then that was the most sellout for that. An indie show, 500 people, great. And when pulled my elbow up and pointed to that mug, everybody started chanting elbow drop. That was the coolest feeling in the world because they let me know I finally got to move over. I didn't even have to do the move yet, and they were just ready for it. So it was great.
Oh, that's fire. What separates Cam Jackson from everybody else?
Authenticity and knowing who I am. This, like I said, I'm not afraid to be myself anywhere. Although we have to be a little bit more reserved at certain times, not afraid to be myself anywhere. And I have a good connection with most crowds that I get in front of. And when we're wrestling, I'm going to bump and sell to do my best to make the opponent look good. Like I essentially just try to check all the necessary boxes, you know. Am I better than anyone? I can't say that. Am I the best around? I definitely can't say that. But what I can say is you're definitely in for an experience, and the crowd is not going to be quiet when you wrestle me. I promise. That's the one thing I strive towards, the crowd not being quiet. And so I think that's what separates me is like a lot of people go miles and miles and they'll go to the end of the earth to have the best match and get this match perfect. I don't give a fuck about all that. I mean, I do, but I care more about how the crowd likes it. Like if y'all like me punching him more than you like me doing a Hurricane Rana, then guess what? Forget that Rana. We're gonna be punching. We're gonna be punching till the ceiling blows off this mug. And I'm known for that. I'll switch shit up right in the middle of the match, and I don't care. Biggest reason why is like at the end of the day, we're gonna come back because we got the crowd this loud, and the promoters are gonna see that, so they can forgive me for getting rid of this huge spot they wanted to do, as long as they're gonna come back. You know what I'm saying? Again, so going back to it, I try to pop everybody. That's what separates me. I pop not only the fans, but the wrestlers in the back. And it's not my goal to do that, but I do it. My goal is to have everybody in the building entertained in what I'm doing.
Well, I got one more for you, but this one always ends the show. So, Bars, you got anything else?
No.
Well, before I ask you this last question, go ahead and plug all your socials for everybody that's listening and watching this.
But I think I am at Cam Jackson ENT on everything. That's Instagram, Twitter, or they call it X now. I don't know. I don't keep up with that. I think I'm that on TikTok as well. I don't know for sure. I don't have anything on TikTok, but I think that's what I am on TikTok. But yeah, just go on on the more famous socials and tap into Cam Jackson ENT. You'll see a lot of creative stuff on there. I need to get back on my upload and back on my vlogging and all that, and I will. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
You got anything coming up that you want the people to know about?
Well, as of this time on the East Coast, today I'm at Matthews Comic Con. We're gonna be doing some hosting, we're gonna judge the costume contest, and I'm gonna host the cosplay wrestling show. I will not be in the cosplay wrestling show, but I will host it. And then Saturday, one of the biggest nights of my life. Sunday, one of the biggest nights of my life. I'll be wrestling. I'll be teaming up alongside Christopher Prince against Gangrel and Kevin Thorne, and that's going to be so much.
Okay.
I can't wait. And then I'm scattered around the next few months. March 14th, ACCW, Darren Aiken Memorial. I'm pretty sure there's there's quite a few more. But if I keep spouting off, I mean, I think if we can get somebody to come to those 3, I'll be standing over there with my basket at the door so they can drop $1 on the inside of it. That'll be great. But yeah, that's where I'm at in the upcoming future. You know, you catch me there. I'll have merch with me and all that good stuff.
Right on, right on. Well, with that being said, I asked this question to everybody before we get off the show. If you could see somebody on this here podcast, Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle podcast, who would it be? But Cam Jackson has to help us get that person on the show.
Okay. Let's see. You know, I think y'all would get a kick out of the realness. You know, you think I'm real. My boy Bobby Valentine. He's real. He's in the same area as myself, Ray, Jordan, Zay. You know, he's real. Like, he's definitely gonna have some good stories for you. Y'all get a kick out of some of the stuff that this man has been through and says. And he's a dear friend of mine. I think he's a good talent. I think I think he'd be a good one. So if anybody I could help get you guys to get on the show, it'd probably be Bobby B.
Let me see. It says Instagram is the name is Bobby.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. I will reach out to him and I'll let him know that you sent us if you want to hook us up with it.
I'm gonna shoot him. I'll shoot him a message. I'll probably shoot him a message after I slide off of this. That way I know I did it.
It's all good. All good. Go ahead, Bars.
Well, with that being said, we appreciate you for tapping in with us this evening. It's been a wonderful show, wonderful experience. Don't make this your last time coming through and tapping in with us. You are now part of the family, so we gonna need to run this back. We gonna need to run this back for sure. So we appreciate you. We know you got a busy schedule and things like that, but we definitely this means a lot to us. To be able to break bread with you guys, network, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot. Yeah.
You got it, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. So with that being said, special guest Cam Jackson, Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast, the Insightful One, Bars Wrestling Media, and the Southern King, Darkwing Dub. We'll be back with another one. Salute.
Yo, Robert Mason here, and the fire in this arena is unreal.
And I'm Molly Finwick. We are the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle commentary team, bringing nonstop action. And that wraps up another explosive edition of the podcast. Join us next week as the road to the championship continues.
This is the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle Podcast, your home for real pro wrestling talk.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, we the champs. Thanks for listening. We gone.